This is a video tutorial for the song Polka Dots for flute. This is a regular flute part, not the easy flute recorder part. Your part at the top left of the page should say flute, and you'll see a bunch of eighth notes at the beginning. That's how you know you have the right part. All right, let's dive right in. Flute players, these notes, we have quite a bit of them, and the song is pretty fast. Luckily, this pattern is pretty nice under the fingers, and it lays out well enough that if you practice it a couple times, it'll just be second nature. Okay, the notes that we need to learn are G, A, B natural, and then F sharp. Okay, if you remember G, we're going to start from there as a reference. G is thumb, 1, 2, and 3. And remember, when we're playing our thumb key, we're using this key, not the golf club looking key, and that's important for another note that I'll show you in a second here too. All right, let's play 1G. Ready? Go. Okay, and if you're sounded like mine, that means you're playing low G. And if you remember how to get to the high note, remember we say tu-wee or T to get that note to go higher. So if I'm saying two, I'm going to get the low G. I want the high G, so I need to go T, which makes my air much faster. Ready? Hey. There it is. Okay. So from G, we just let go of one of our fingers, the third finger, and then we're playing the note A. A is a little bit higher than G2, so we're starting to go higher on the flute. Check your note against that and see if you got it. All right, the third note is B. Lift one more finger, and it's just a thumb and a 1 pinch. Now, the note that we know how to play is B flat. Okay, so remember, don't press this key. We're pressing this one here. And if we play our first finger like that, we're going to get B flat, which is a different note. We want B natural. So check your note, and if it sounds like that, you're good. Our third note is F sharp, and if you remember F natural from the book, it's pretty close to G. We start with G, and we add our first finger. That's F natural. We don't want to play that in polka dots. We want F sharp, so we're going to trade this finger for our third finger right there, okay? So we're playing G plus our third finger, which is the one that's closest to the pinky. Here's F sharp. Excellent. Now, once you have all of those notes, we can start playing the melody, which is at the beginning, and it repeats at measure 8. Okay? Here's what the melody would sound like. That's a whole lot of notes, and it's pretty fast too. So what we're going to do is slow it down and practice it slowly until it's more comfortable under your fingers, and then we can slowly speed it up incrementally until it's the tempo of the performance. So let me play a little bit of the tempo so you know what the target is. Still pretty fast. So let's slow it down and pretend that each of those notes are quarter notes. We're going to make them much slower. Okay, so instead of, we're going to slow it down and just do 1 note per beat. Ready, set, 1, 2, ready, go. Great, that's the first line. So if you can do that, you can transpose that on the second line, which is almost the same with a couple different notes. When you have that nice and controlled under your fingers, you can speed it up just a little bit. 1, 2, quarter notes, 1, 2, 3, and. Great, and then eventually you can get it a little bit faster to play eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and ready and go. Finally, you can speed it up to the tempo of the song, which will be a little bit faster. Here it is. Ready? And. Excellent. All right. Now, the next section at measure 9, we have the same notes but a different rhythm. 1 and 2, and then quarter notes. Okay, so not all eighth notes this time. Check out measure 9. Okay, starts with 2 eighth notes and then the quarter note. B, G, B. And the next couple notes are some quarter notes as well. Let's try the whole line a little slower, at a slower tempo. You can practice with me, and then we'll speed it up later. Here we go. 1 and 2. Ready, set, go. Excellent. If you were able to play that to completion, you can work on speeding it up and getting it to the tempo of the recording. And if you had a little bit of trouble, it was probably in the second to last measure, okay? That would be measure 15. So you can count 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. It's the measure that has A, G, F sharp, A. It's a little bit tricky to go in a linear pattern where we just go down one note, A, G, F sharp, and then skip the G and go back up to A. So we'll practice that really slowly. A, G, F sharp, A. Ready, play. Okay, once you have that, you can speed it up a little bit more. Ready, go. And faster still. Here we go. Ready, 2, 3, go. Finally, we can get it into eighth notes at this tempo. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, ready, go. And then I added the second measure after that. All right. When you have that completed, the only other line that's going to prove a little tricky is going to be line 5. Line 5, we have a different rhythm altogether. Quarter notes, eighth notes, intermixed, and a little bit of different pattern here too. Try this line starting on measure 25 with me. G, G, E, 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 F sharp, A, F sharp, G, G, G. In order to play line 5, measure 25 through measure 32, there's one extra note that we haven't played yet, and that's E, natural, not E flat. If you remember E flat, it's kind of like D plus the pinky key. E is completely different, so let's reset and remember G, the very first note of the whole song. G, which is thumb, 1, 2, 3. In order to get to E natural, we're just going to add the next 2 fingers below. Okay, so it kind of looks like F plus 1 more. Here it is, E. Make sure you can play an E before we try line 5, measure 25. Okay, let's try this line nice and slowly. G, G, E, 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 F sharp, A, F sharp, G, G, G. Ready? 2, ready, set, go. Fantastic. And if you can play that, then do it a second time to finish out that line. Okay? All right. And then finally, the last 2 lines are the same as the beginning. We're just going to play them one time loud and one time softly. Have you noticed that there are sometimes 2 dynamic cymbals? Like in the last 8 measures, measures 33 to the end, you're going to see an F/P. Remember that the F means forte, we're going to play nice and loud. The P is piano, so softly. And the reason there's 2 is because it's repeated. So we're going to play it the first time loud, and the second time is going to be way softer. Let's try the entire song with the recording, and I'll help you out calling out the repeats and what line we're on. Okay? So listen for the 4 tones to set up the track. Ready?